the internet disrupted media and commerce. All the value that was in ABC, NBC, CBS went to Netflix. All the value of mom and pop stores went to Amazon. This entire 30-year period has seen a massive shift, but it's tiny compared to financial services. Financial services is the biggest industry in the world. So what's happening now is, why does, Jamie Dimon say it's a fraud? Why does Warren Buffett call it rat poison? No, there's a reason. You have to hate this thing that's going to disrupt 46% of your portfolio. It was 46% of the. Now, what has Berkshire been selling faster than they can sell anything? Financials. And they're accumulating cash.
We are now 3 years into what Mark Yusko describes as the now they fight you phase. Yusko, the CIO and managing partner at Morgan Creek Capital Management, frequently discusses Bitcoin's evolution through the lens of a well-known quote: "First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win." He applies this framework to Bitcoin's adoption cycle, arguing that it has moved beyond the early stages of dismissal and ridicule and has now entered the now they fight you phase. According to Yusko, Bitcoin was initially ignored by mainstream finance and policymakers during its early years, as it was seen as an experimental technology confined to tech enthusiasts and libertarians. As its adoption grew and the price surged, critics shifted from indifference to mockery, calling it a speculative bubble, a tool for criminals, or a fad that would eventually disappear. However, as Bitcoin's market capitalization expanded into the trillions and its role as a digital store of value became more apparent, the response from traditional financial institutions, governments, and central banks shifted to resistance and active opposition. Yusko believes that the current phase is characterized by regulatory crackdowns, media narratives emphasizing volatility and risks, and efforts by governments and financial institutions to co-opt or control the space through initiatives such as central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and regulatory oversight on exchanges. He argues that this resistance is a natural reaction from incumbents who feel threatened by Bitcoin's decentralized nature and its potential to undermine traditional financial structures. In a recent discussion with Anthony Scaramucci, Yusko describes how Bitcoin is about to completely disrupt the traditional finance industry and why prominent personalities like Jamie Dimon and Warren Buffett are so staunchly against this disruption. As we bring you clips from the discussion, please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also join the conversation by dropping your comments in the comments section below. Thanks for your support and enjoy the video.
It's such a fascinating topic because, to your point about adaptation and change, the market is changing, right? If you go back to the earliest days, 2009, I call it kind of 2009 to 15 was the first they ignore you phase, right? A bunch of nerds and geeks playing through magic internet money. I mean, there were a lot of OGs, just unbelievable people, Max and Roger, and I mean, there's just a lot of people back then, Charlie, and they got it, and no one else did. But everyone just ignored it, right? It wasn't real. It was magic internet money. You guys knock yourself out, it'll disappear. And then in 16 to 21, we went into the then they laugh at you phase. And that was when we were trying to build our business. And literally, we would call 100 people to market our funds. 90 wouldn't call us back. Some would literally laugh in our face. Texas said, get out of the office. And of the 10 that would actually talk to us, in Fund 1 in 2018, 9 out of 10 said no. Now we ended up with 30 investors, so we talked to a lot of people. And in 2020, it got a little better. Still, 70 out of 100 wouldn't call us back. But that was a threefold increase, so something. But then still 9 out of 10 said no. So we ended up with 90 clients. And it was that kind of, they weren't laughing in our face, but they were still laughing. Like, no, this is not real. It's not interesting. Well, starting in 2022, we entered the then they fight you phase. And that's what we're in right now. And what do I mean by that? So what I mean by that is the internet, which was this amazing thing that goes to this. There's been a technological cycle, started in 1954 with the advent of the mainframe computer. 14 years later, it shifted to microcomputers with the advent of microchips. 14 years later, and it's always 14 years. Now, why is it always 14 years? My theory is it's half a generation, and it's because young people invent everything new. The internet disrupted media and commerce. All the value that was in ABC, NBC, CBS went to Netflix. All the value of mom and pop stores went to Amazon. This entire 30-year period has seen a massive shift, but it's tiny compared to financial services. Financial services is the biggest industry in the world. It's a 7 trillion with a T. And the T word is such a big number that people are numb to it, right? You and I would have to stay here on the podcast for 31,710 years, which is great. You know, good looking as you are, as much as I like to talk, that would be painful. 31,710 years. $1 a second, that's 1 trillion. So 7 of those babies get spent, extracted, stolen, I will argue, from us every year because of trust. We have to trust the banks, the brokers, the insurance companies, the title companies, that our money, which is no longer our money, or you put the money in the bank, it's the bank's money, and you have an IOU, but we trust that they're going to take care of it. Well, what blockchain does, and what Bitcoin as the perfect use case for blockchain, as perfect money, what it does is it disrupts that fundamental industry, and we go from trust to truth. And this is such a monster deal. And it's so big, right? And so resisted by the banks. And this is where I'm going to circle back to the answer, right? Which is in the olden days, right? I lent you money. I lent you $100 and I'm old. I wrote in my papyrus tablet that you owe me $100. And you come back a year later with 110 to pay me back, and I'm an unscrupulous guy. I've changed the number to 200. I'm like, Anthony, you owe me 220. You're like, Bubba, I only borrowed 100. You blew it. You trusted me. I was not trustworthy. So the Medicis, right? Some of your forefathers, way back, maybe not your forefathers, but somebody's forefathers, way back then, 838 years ago, said, you know what? That's a bad system. Anthony, you write down a number. Mark, you write down a number, and we, the benevolent Medicis, for a small fee, will make sure the numbers match. But here's the problem. In that year where you're out earning the $10 to pay me interest, I go to the Medicis and I say, you know what? I'm going to change my number to 200. I'll give you half. They're like, done. Easy. So you come back to pay 110. I say it's 220. You're like, Medicis, what? Anthony, you must have written the number down wrong. You trusted us. Bad. So now, with the advent of a blockchain, we don't need an unscrupulous third party, bank, insurance company, whatever. We have truth. We have a blockchain, a ledger, a permanent, immutable trust record.
Mark Yusko believes that technological revolutions follow a recurring 14-year cycle, with each phase introducing innovations that redefine industries and societies. He traces this pattern through major developments, such as the mainframe computer, the microchip, personal computing, the internet, and mobile computing. According to Yusko, we are now entering the next phase, which he refers to as the trust net, or the Internet of Value. This transformation is driven by blockchain technology and Bitcoin, which he sees as the foundation for a decentralized financial system where trust is replaced by cryptographic verification. He argues that Bitcoin and blockchain technology represent the next major leap, just as previous cycles introduced groundbreaking advancements that reshaped global commerce and communication. In this new era, Bitcoin functions as the core of a system that allows individuals to transfer value directly without reliance on traditional financial intermediaries. He describes this transition as inevitable, much like the adoption of previous technological breakthroughs. However, Yusko also acknowledges that this transformation is still in its early stages. The necessary infrastructure, including security protocols, regulatory frameworks, and technical scalability, is still being developed. He compares this period to the picks and shovels phase of past technological revolutions, where foundational tools must be built before mass adoption can occur. Despite resistance from traditional financial institutions, he remains confident that blockchain technology and Bitcoin will fundamentally change how value is stored, transferred, and secured on a global scale. Let's get back to the interview.
I told you we're in the then they fight you phase, right? So in 1996, Al Gore saved the internet. He did not invent the internet, right? Contrary to how it was quoted, right? He never claimed to invent. He said, I saved it. Now, what does that mean? Well, Verizon and AT&T hated the idea that you and I could do what we're doing right now, that we could use voice over internet protocol, right? The base layer of the internet, TCP/IP, that we could exchange voice and data and pictures and video for free. For free. They liked charging $3 a minute for long distance. So they lobbied, fancy word for corruption. They paid millions and millions of dollars into DC to get a bill drafted that would have made that illegal, literally illegal. And it was 50-50, and Al Gore cast the deciding vote to say, nope, we're not going to pass this bill. And so the internet was unleashed to basically, liberate all that money that was tied up in media and commerce. So what's happening now is, why does, Jamie Dimon say it's a fraud? Why does Warren Buffett call it rat poison squared? I'm like, what does that even mean? And I also said, well, and I shouldn't say this because Warren's, legendary and I'm not, but how do you even know what rat poison tastes like unless you're a rat, right? So, no, I'm just kidding around. But Munger, God rest his soul, one-upped his partner. He said, trading in Bitcoin is like trading newly harvested dead baby brains. What the hell, Charlie? No, there's a reason. You have to hate this thing that's going to disrupt 46% of your portfolio. It was 46% of the. Now, what has Berkshire been selling faster than they can sell anything? Financials. And they're accumulating cash. Why? Because they're going to buy a bunch of good stuff on the other side. But Jamie doesn't have any other business. He is banking. So we're in this thing where a year ago, the ETFs get approved and everyone's like, oh, it's going to be great. The price is going to go straight up. And we went up in anticipation. And then when it happened, because no one was talking, Anthony, about the same day, January 10th, the exact same day, not a coincidence, the CME listed massive numbers of new Bitcoin futures. So what's happening is every time someone is accumulating, these big dogs, okay, the banksters, can naked short against it to suppress the price. Now, part of that's just to make money, right? You're short here, you're long here, you make about 11, 12% annualized, and you lever it up 8, 10 times, and you make a lot of money. Sorry, you make a lot of money. But the other little dirty secret, if you wanted to accumulate a large position of something, what would you do? Would you talk highly about it? Hell to the no. No. And look, I was there. I was there inside a number of firms. Soros used to do this all the time. I wasn't at Soros, but I had money with Soros. I had money with Scott Besson. I had money with Julian. I had money with all these guys. And I saw, my favorite story is Julian wanted to go super long copper. And Dwight Anderson had done the research. He was the commodities guy. And he comes in with this big thing. He's like, hey, Julian, I think we should buy copper. It's going to go up a lot. He's like, okay, great. Go short 50 million copper. And I want you to tell every reporter that we hate copper. I want you to tell Morgan Stanley that we hate copper. He's like, no, I like it. He says, no, you're not. I want to buy a lot of it, and I want the price to go down. So I will argue that you got two things going on. One, you got this natural arbitrage that's going on between people who are long the ETF, the financialized version of Bitcoin, and short the future. And that caps the price movement. Second thing that's going on is I do believe, and I don't know if it's Buffett, I don't think it's Buffett, but somebody has changed their mind. in my opinion, somebody, and whether that's nation states or whether that's other billionaires, somebody has changed their mind and they want to accumulate. And they don't want to accumulate at high prices, they want to accumulate at low prices. So what do? You unleash the bots on all the leveraged speculators.
In other news, President Donald Trump has announced the establishment of a U.S. crypto strategic reserve aimed at positioning the United States as the crypto capital of the world. The reserve will include 5 major cryptocurrencies: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. The announcement, which he made via a post on his Truth Social, reads, "A U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which my executive order on digital assets directed the Presidential Working Group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, and Cardano. I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world." About an hour later, he added in another post, "And, obviously, Bitcoin and Ethereum, as other valuable cryptocurrencies, will be at the heart of the reserve." Following Trump's announcement, the cryptocurrency market experienced a dramatic surge in prices. Bitcoin saw a sharp rise of 9%, reaching approximately $93,000, with its market capitalization increasing by $166 billion. Ethereum also experienced substantial growth, climbing over 12% to surpass $2,400. XRP witnessed an even more pronounced jump, soaring from $2.23 to nearly $2.99, boosting its market cap by $44 billion in under an hour. Similarly, Solana's price increased from $140 to $168, while Cardano surged from $0.68 to almost $1. The broader digital currency market added more than $100 billion in value within a short period after the announcement. Trump's decision to include these 5 cryptocurrencies in the strategic reserve is seen as a major step toward government-backed adoption of digital assets. The administration has also hinted at further measures to support blockchain technology, including policies that might foster innovation and enhance the use of cryptocurrencies in financial markets. While details on the reserve's exact framework remain unclear, the announcement has generated widespread enthusiasm among investors and market participants. Financial analysts believe this move could increase institutional interest in digital assets and influence future regulatory approaches. However, some skeptics argue that the lack of regulatory clarity surrounding the reserve's implementation leaves room for uncertainty. Nevertheless, the market reaction has been overwhelmingly positive, with investors interpreting the announcement as a strong endorsement of crypto's role in the future of the U.S. economy. Please share your thoughts on Mark Yusko's interview and President Trump's announcement in the comments below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks for watching.